Hello and welcome to this undetermined episode of Smooth Traffic, the only podcast that has reached this number of episodes and still doesn't have an intro theme, like a sort of funky do kind of theme. We don't have one. This is what intros are going to be like. Me saying hello and telling you that in this show, we have turned the fax machine back on, not that it needed turning on in the first place. Ben's prepared a quiz. So Kingy's going to get either very upset or become the quiz Nazi overlord that he really is. And I think the other stuff, because we do car stuff as well, I'm going to talk about the Audis I've had to drive, and I'm also going to talk about my little trip to the Porsche Experience Centre, where I tried some Porsche-branded still water. So you'd like me to talk about my two incredibly fast Audis that I've had over the last couple of weeks, which have combined... Wait 1 second, and I will tell you. Plus 540 equals... I'm using a calculator to tell you that the two Audis I had came to a total of 1,150 horsepower from two cars. That is an average of, divide by 2, 575. So, first car I had, the the Audi RS6 Performance, which has 610 horsepower and weighed 2.6 tons. That's slightly mad, because a tank weighs only 2 tons, and an Audi RS6 weighs considerably more. But great fun.
Is that true? What kind of tank weighs 2 tons?
You know, little one. Anyway, it had a big 4-litre twin-turbo V8 engine, 610 horsepower, 4-wheel drive, obviously, because it's a Quattro. Ben, Quattro on Audi means 4-wheel drive. Little nuggets of car fact for you there. And it behaved. King, did you ever come in the Mustang with me?
I beg your pardon?
It wasn't that good.
I don't know if you did,
think you're one hell of a driver, John, but...
You know what? You know what, King? I think I am. Well, actually, maybe not. But yes, the RS6 is a bit like a muscle car that is an estate car, basically. It handles the same as a muscle car, in my experience of muscle cars anyway, which consists of one car, the Mustang. It's quite big, it's quite heavy. It goes around corners slightly better than the Mustang does, I would say, probably because the 4-wheel drive helps it out a lot. And the engine is just so characterful, despite having that twin turbo. And when you put your foot down in the RS6, you go from being sat in a comfy chair, listening to the sweet lyrics of Vince Staples, to suddenly doing 130 miles an hour in literally no time at all. It's like the wheels are turning the planet the opposite direction, and you're just moving along because the wheels are pushing the planet the other way. I'm doing it with my hands right now, so you can see. See that? Yep. You can all see that, right? So yeah, brilliant car. So much fun to drive, and it's got everything you ever need. Obviously, you've got 4 seats, a huge boot. You've got the sat-nav. You've got the musics. You've got all the kind of different ways to set up the car, because Audi's sports cars are very complicated in the way you can set the suspension to do this, the gearbox to do this, the quattro system to do this, the blah blah blah, the steering to do this, the exhaust sound like that. Basically, though, if you're going to get a fast Audi, what you need to do is go on individual, put the suspension in comfort, and then put everything else on dynamic, and then you've got the perfect car to just smash through B roads, A roads, actually, just any road, all of the roads, because they're so fast, they're so comfortable, and they're so fitted with everything you need. You just can't ask for anything more, I don't think. During my time with the RS6, despite the fact it weighs more than a tank,
debatable, I
was able to smash 2 BMW M4s on the back roads, and they're not slow cars, but yeah, they just catch them up, no problem.
Because it's such a big car, does it cause you problems getting around the B roads and stuff, like cornering and all that? Yeah,
in the same way that any sort of wide car does, but it's one of those cars that you get in and you get used to very, very quickly. So a good example of that is that I got used to the RS6's size quicker than I got used to the R8 size. I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe the R8 is probably slightly wider at the back, I would have thought, and that probably made me feel a little bit sort of off kilter, but I think the RS6 is pretty much the same all the way around. But once you get used to it, you can just know where to put it and you just go through gaps and get used to it. But you wouldn't want to take it down a very narrow road with a lorry full of milk coming the other way. That would be my advice. Don't do that.
Good advice.
Solid, smooth traffic consumer advice.
What did you not like about the car?
Nothing. It's the best car ever made. From a logical perspective. from a logical perspective, it is the best car ever made. I've written an article for Drive Tribe, which will be out sometime in the next week or so, I think, which explains this in detail in a way that I probably can't on the podcast when I'm just talking, because most of the time when I'm on Smooth Traffic talking, it's shit. When I do the typey type on the keyboard and send it away to the bosses, they say it's quite good. So it will explain much better there. But from a human achievement perspective, you've got air suspension, navigation, safety, comfort, everything you need. You've got an amazing engine that economically isn't that good, but it is incredibly powerful and gives you this great sense of fun from a car that really shouldn't be fun. And it drives, despite being 2.6 tons, it drives really, really well. You know, it'll get round corners and stuff as well. So from a logical perspective, it can carry humans, it can keep you safe, it can guide you to places using things in the space zone that I don't understand. You can have a heated arse while you do it, and you can carry around several carcasses of animals in the boot as well. I can't think of a better car that's ever been made, but it's just gone out of production, so you can't buy one anymore.
Why did Audi give you it if it's gone out of production?
Probably because I wanted to make my point about it being the best car ever made, and they thought, oh, fuck it, we'll just send it to Jonny.
So are they coming out with something new then, do you think?
I think there is a new A6 in the works at the moment. I think it's being developed. Whether there'll be another RS6, don't know really. I assume there will be, because it's really, really cool, and it's an important car for Audi, I think. Although maybe it won't have the big V8, but it'll have to get better. And how do you make it better? Probably give it more power. I know they're doing a special sort of Nagaro edition, which I think's got 700 horsepower instead. And YouTuber guy, racer guy, Team Galag guy, chap called John Olsen, he's just had an RS6 made that has like 720 horsepower or something, I think, like that. You can easily turn an RS6 into a 200 mile an hour car. It is pretty simple to do that, I think. A few modifications, that is a 200 mile an hour car, and that is really quite incredible.
Especially as it's a sort of almost a sensible, practical car as well.
It is. It's really sensible. It's so sensible, King could sit in the back and do a crossword. That's how sensible it is. You know, whilst me and you sit in the front and drive at a fairly good pace. Prat around, yep. King could sit in the back with his crossword and with his signed portrait of that lady who does Bake Off, or used to do Bake Off, and just relax. Because it is so comfortable and so full of toys and everything, but at the same time, you can just go mad. You just go ridiculous speeds. But King wouldn't know anything about it, because he'd be deeply involved in the crossword.
Dare I ask how much fuel it guzzled?
All of it. Yep.
At what rate, John?
All of it. Well,
worse than things like the Mustang?
No, better than the Mustang. Nothing is worse than the Mustang. It did, I think, 21 or 22 miles per gallon. So, not great, but really good fun. And actually, for an engine that is that big, it's not that bad. Especially as I was driving quite fast a lot of the time as well. I wasn't taking it easy. I reckon if you took it easy, you'd probably get like 27, 28. But I just preferred to drive quite fast and listen to the sweet rhymes of Vince Staples. Northside Long Beach.
Okay, let's move on to the R8 then, John.
Yeah.
What's so great about the R8?
There is one thing you need to know about the R8 above all else. Listeners, because Smooth Traffic listeners are obviously the kind of people who are going to buy an R8. We know how good they are at buying cars and how much money they've all got. They're incredibly wealthy, affluent, brilliant people. The Audi R8 is a great place to start if you're going to buy a supercar. It has one of the best engines I've ever driven. Driven is the right word, isn't it? Engine driven? Best engines I've ever... One of the best engines I've ever thrashed. Anyway, 5.2, normally aspirated, no turbos to help it out, V10 engine that revs to about 8,500 RPM. Ooh. Now that makes me feel buttery. It was fantastic. It is one of those engines that you just never get sick of hearing. Now, when King last visited me, I had the R8. And we went out for what I would call a spirited drive in the countryside. Because, living in North Devon, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do except go to McDonald's or go out for a drive and try and kill yourself. So we did the latter because we probably already had a McDonald's. But it's just sensational. It's so quick round the corners. The brakes are really, really sharp, as they should be, obviously. The front end is razor sharp. Like, the slightest turn on the wheel and the front end moves for you. And then you've got that big V10 engine right behind your head as well, just going. And that's the kind of noise I made as well when I first took it to the max.
It's not the first time you've had the R8, is it, Jonny? Haven't you driven one before?
I've driven a couple before. I've driven a V10 Plus twice.
How does that compare? Is it worth having?
No, I don't think so. I think it makes the car uglier because it's got the spoiler and stuff on it and there's the aero tweaks. I think the normal R8 is probably the one to have because it's got a really nice balance of like the V10 Plus. Obviously, that's got 610 horsepower, so I think, whereas the normal R8 has 540. 540 is a nice figure to have in a kind of supercar because you can drive it in a way quite quickly without being too illegal. But when you start getting over 600 horsepower in a car that sort of weighs like that, or you're getting on that per ton kind of figure of like 480, 500 per ton, you start getting very, very illegal very quickly. And the normal R8 is such a nice shape as well. It kind of looks better without all the sort of the sort of aero tweaks and stuff that are on it. Well, on the V10 Plus, you've got a fixed spoiler on the back, and it just doesn't look right on an R8. An R8 is a kind of sleek, kind of futuristic looking car, and it looks better like that. But the normal R8 is a bargain as well. It's £117,000 starting price, which for a car like that is incredible. I mean, the engine's worth that as far as I'm concerned, because the engine is that good and that unusual now. Because how many normally aspirated engines are in the world now? I can tell you how many. There's none. There's none left. They're all gone. They're like the dinosaurs. They were killed by a giant rock. There's none left. You have to dig them up and then reconstruct them in a park and watch them run riot. So yeah, I would say it was probably worth that, the engine. It's just magnificent. And if the rumours are true that the R8 is sort of on its way out, it'd be a damn shame. But they'll probably replace it with something hybrid.
It's quite rare in that I don't think it looks that obscure. Like there are a lot of sort of supercars out there that have got big pointy angles and everything else, and it just looks a little bit, almost like the TT, just a bit subtle almost for a supercar.
Yeah, it doesn't get
it's not subtle, but you know what I mean. It's subtle for a supercar.
I think it is. It doesn't get loads and loads of attention. You don't get people coming up to you and pestering you all the time, and asking you for pictures or anything, or just bugging you. Put it this way: we had lots more attention in the Caterham than we did in the R8. Loads more people were coming up to you in the Caterham, going, "Oh, how the hell do you drive that? You're mad. Have you got a wife? She's going to kill you if the car don't." Those sorts of things. But in the R8, you don't really get that. You get the odd comment like, "Oh, nice car," or "Oh, I was just looking at your car," but you don't get as much of it. And even you don't get people like turning around in the street, like breaking their neck as much as you do.
I mean, if you're driving something like a McLaren, it's pretty obvious what it is. I suppose the R8 is almost, you almost don't realise what it is under the bonnet. Is it?
I think there probably is, especially from the front. I think there's an element of that from the front because it does have that sort of Audi face. And it is low and it is wide, but you kind of look at it and you see the Audi sort of features and you think, oh, it's an Audi. And a lot of people just go, oh, maybe it's some sort of TT, and they don't know. But the biggest thing is that when you turn it on, so if you're in an area where it's quite quiet and then you turn it on, that's when people have a look, because it just that roar from the V10 is so distinctive and so special. It gets people going, oh, what was that? Because there's no. I can't think of any other cars that sound like that now. I can't think of any other cars that have had a V10 in the last few years. I think probably the last one was the Lexus LFA. I think they had a V10, but that was years and years ago now, and you don't see them anywhere anyway. So it's quite an unusual noise to hear as far as sports cars and supercars go. Yeah. But it's a bargain. Great car. Great car.
So we put a video up on YouTube. Just a quick first glance at it, I suppose. But you mentioned on that it's a great first supercar.
Yeah. So
why is that then? Is it just sort of the way it handles, or?
It's really, I mean, supercars are supposed to be slightly intimidating. They're supposed to sort of give you that kind of feeling like you're being chased by some sort of prehistoric animal, like a T-Rex or a dog with big fangs. And the Audi R8 kind of looks like it is going to eat you. But when you get in it and start driving it, it drives like a normal car. Kingy's driven an R8, he'll know what I mean by that. You just get in it and you drive it, and it's just like a normal Audi. Really unthreatening, really easy to get used to. You don't need long to tune yourself in with the car. It doesn't attract much attention, and not everybody actually really wants attention. They might think they want attention and go out and buy a bright yellow Ferrari, and then when everyone starts coming up to them, pestering them, and it's all the dudes, waving their nutsacks in front of you, they might find that quite annoying. It's very well priced. It's 4-wheel drive, so there's that element there of safety as well, because you can push your luck in supercars, and some of them require quite a large amount of skill to drive properly, I would say. I don't think the R8 is one of those cars. I think you can pretty much drive the R8 as fast as you like, and you're very, very unlikely to kill yourself. And I say that without having driven Ferraris and Lamborghinis. I say that because I don't believe Audi would actually make their supercar that easy to kill yourself in, because I think Audi is traditionally quite strong on safety and technology and conquering power in a safe way that makes it usable for everybody. So you see that in their other cars like RS6, 600 horsepower, really easy to drive. TTRS that we drove, loads of power, very easy to drive. So I think it's just a great place to start if you're a newcomer to supercars, basically.
You do quite often see these news stories, don't you, where someone's crashed a Ferrari or a Lamborghini within sort of 10 miles of the dealer. I suppose you'll get that with the R8.
I don't think so. You probably can do that in an R8 if you're stupid enough, but I think it would be much, much harder to do than it would be in something like a Ferrari 488 or a McLaren 720, something like that. Obviously, there's slightly different price tags and stuff, but that's another reason why I think you should start with an R8, because they're so well priced. It is a really, really good car as well. I drove it to Silverstone and back, which I think was probably, in the week I had it, probably did 600 miles or so. 24 miles per gallon average, which surprised me because it was better than the RS6. I wasn't expecting that at all. So the economy is not bad for a supercar either, especially on a run. But so comfortable. It's got the virtual cockpit, that we've seen in Audis before. So everything's in front of you, where the dials are. That's all configurable. Great car, looks great, sounds great. Really, really good fun to drive. Very easy to master, and very well priced as well. It's just a great car. It's just a really, really great car. It's one of the few cars that I've had on loan that I was quite sad to see go back. Normally I can get over it quite quickly, but I still feel like I wish the R8 was still here.
So John, you mentioned earlier that you went to Silverstone in the Audi R8.
Were you invited there?
What were you doing at Silverstone with the Audi R8?
Well, I was there to celebrate with Porsche 30 years of all-wheel drive technology. Well, basically what happens is every now and then a manufacturer will find out that they need to put an event on, and possibly not really have much on. So they will come up with something like this to go, oh, we need to get everyone together. 30 years of four-wheel drive, yes. That's what we want to do an event around. So they did. But really, really, really good actually, because I'm a big fan of four-wheel drive, as you know. I think rear-wheel drive is a little bit outdated and a little bit last century. Boo-hoo, all you dab of Oppo wankers out there. Ooh, I bet that stings, doesn't it, hearing me say that? Ooh, what are you going to do about it? You can't hit me, can you? No, because I'm on a podcast.
They're probably not listening, John.
So they showed us basically how the four-wheel drive works to make their cars better. So, first step, right? We had 8 Porsche 911 GTS Carreras. 4 of them were rear-wheel drive and 4 of them were four-wheel drive. And we had to drive up this wet slope that is meant to simulate ice, basically. Which is basically a slope with lots of tiny fountains in it, sprinkling out a constant water sprinkle. And anyway, so we had to slalom up that, and basically you would be able to feel when the car was braking from grip, I mean, and you could feel the four-wheel drive start to work by grabbing on the front wheels again to sort of pull you out of it. Basically, it's much easier. But in the rear-wheel drive car, it was much, much harder to do. You had to rely on your own driving talent. Luckily, I have got some driving talent and I didn't spin it, but lots of people spun it because it's really easy to do as you start to lose traction with a rear-wheel drive car. It's very difficult to keep it in control once it starts to get away from you. So we were doing this at very low speeds as well, probably about 20-30 miles an hour. But it just goes to show that having four-wheel drive technology on the road is really important for me, because you don't know what's around that corner. It could be a lovely bone-dry piece of tarmac, that hasn't seen water in a century, and it's warm and it's dry, and your tyres are just going to go over it and just grab hold of it, Or it could be a butter lorry has shed its load all over the corner, and your corner is covered in butter, like some kind of sick Welsh fantasy, and you know what's going to happen? You're going to get on that corner, and your tyres are going to go, oh shit, son, and they're just going to break away from you, and you're going to go rolling down this massive canyon and then explode at the bottom in a big ball of flame. But if you've got four-wheel drive, that probably won't happen. So that's why you should have four-wheel drive. How do they transport butter? Can they transport butter in a big lorry?
They might take it in a tanker, I suppose.
Can you have a butter tanker?
That'll be before it's properly packaged and processed, I suppose.
I only say that because I've never seen on the news butter tanker rolls over everyone's buttery. 4,000 people run to the scene with crumpets to make the most of it. I've never seen that on the news. But I've seen stuff like, a sheep lorry has rolled over and there's sheep everywhere. Or like, a molasses lorry has rolled over and there's molasses everywhere. But never butter. I just wondered if that's how they transport butter, or whether they have another way of transporting butter. Maybe by cargo plane. Who knows?
So, what followed the 911 GTSs is...
Well, I got travel sick after that.
Oh, so you went home?
Basically. Well, no.
Well, end of the segment. Cheers. Thanks for listening, everyone.
I had a couple more drives. I had to go in a Porsche Macan Turbo, which is like the most powerful Macan, and that is a hell of an SUV. I'll tell you that. That is the best SUV I've ever driven, definitely, by quite some way. That was 400 horsepower, V6 turbo, and it just drives like a big hatchback, basically. There's nothing to suggest it is an SUV when you drive it. It's flat round the corners. You get only the slightest body roll. The suspension's adjustable, so you can get stiff if you really want to. King, I know you like to get stiff sometimes. Know what I'm saying? And you're straight into the corners. No problem at all. Just it's got grip. It's got everything. It's got great feel. It feels like driving a Porsche. It really does feel like driving a Porsche. And I love the Macan Turbo. And then I got travel sick. So I had one more drive, and that was in a Panamera. The new Panamera. Oh, let me tell you about the Panamera, lads. I love the Panamera. I love the Panamera. Anyone who thinks it's ugly or stupid, you can all go fuck yourselves, because I think the Panamera is one of the best saloons out there. It handles like a Porsche. It's comfortable. It looks cool. It's got all the toys you ever need. It's got the luxury. It's great. And they've done away with the diesel now. Porsche don't make diesel anymore. It's gone. No more diesels. You want what's that, Ben? You want a Porsche diesel? You want one? No, you can't have one. Tough shit. Don't make them anymore. So they're only going petrol and hybrid. So I drove the V6 petrol, and it was silky, I tell you that. It was real silky. But then I got travel sick, so I went home. But not before I had a lovely, lovely lunch.
You did a lot of things between getting travel sick and going home, by the sounds of it, John.
Yeah, well, I kept wanting to give it a go, I kept saying, no, that's all right, I can do this. I'm not going to be sick. And then I just thought, no, I think I probably will be sick if I keep going. I got to that point where I can't really drive fast anymore, because like the G-forces were acting on my brain inside my head, and I was like, I don't like it anymore. I want to go to sleep. When you get that sort of travel sicky feeling. It was like that. So I had a bottle of water, had some nice lunch, because if you buy a new Porsche, you get to go to the Porsche Experience Centre, right? So they can show you what your car can do and teach you some tricks and stuff like that, The Porsche Experience Centre does fantastic lunches. Brilliant lunches. So if you buy a new Porsche and you don't really care much about driving, go to the Porsche Experience Centre anyway, because the food is fantastic. Just go there.
How often do we end up talking about lunch options when you talk about somewhere you visited?
Well, it's important, isn't it?
Same when you go to events and museums and everything.
Haynes Motor Museum. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good, wasn't it? That was good value as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good lunch. Do you remember that breakfast you had on the Sangyong Muso launch, King?
Oh, I do. That was fantastic.
That was top of the range, wasn't it, that breakfast?
That was high quality breakfast right there.
I had a lovely piece of fish once on the Ford Mustang launch in Bavaria. It was brought out of the lake that morning, this fish, right? Probably with a few others as well, little group of fish. Brought out of the lake. Come on, lads, you're going to get eaten today. And it was barbecued in the evening as we sat round near the lake, and it was delicious. Great fish dinner, that. Really good. Because I'm not often a big fish man, you see, King, but that was particularly good. Do you like fish, Ben?
I like fish. Yeah.
Cool.
And now we've covered butter, fish, chicken.
Ooh, butter
That's almost
chicken.
a recipe.
Good call.
Butter chicken with fish.
What do you order at the fish and chip shop then, John, if you're not a big fish man?
Well, you see, this is where it gets complicated, King, because I like cod and haddock, because as far as I'm concerned, they're not really fish.
Okay.
Because they're so meaty, they almost become steaks, and I can get behind that.
What are you on about?
Shut up, Ben. But If you give me something like a prawn with its face still attached, fuck off. Like, what are you giving me that for? I don't know how to eat that. That is not food. That is a sea pest that you have dug out and put on my plate to wind me up. Don't understand that at all. Also, I do like lemon sole. That is a very nice fish, but it's got to be breadcrumbed, bit of lemon juice on top, salt and pepper. It's got to be just right. Cod, haddock, lemon sole. I think I had plaice once. Wasn't so keen. Too fishy. That is one thing that really does wind me up, King. When fish is really fishy, that gets on my nerves.
Right.
That is not.
Have you ever had swordfish?
That is not my
fishy.
fish. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. I don't dine in fancy banking restaurants doing powder in the toilet in between having my courses. No, I haven't had fucking swordfish. That's an endangered species, isn't it? Have you had blue whale, Ben? Have you had blue whale? Have you had dolphin? Have you had dolphin, Ben? Have you had the rare Galapagos turtle thing?
Apparently they're delicious.
What?
I like turtles. Wouldn't eat a turtle.
That's part of the reason that, I presume you're familiar with the dodo and it being extinct, mainly due to people eating them. Similar thing happened with the Galapagos turtles when humankind landed there. Apparently they were delicious, so we just ate a shitload of them.
I feel a bit sad. They're so slow and cumbersome.
Exactly, that's why they were easy to catch.
If they had evolved to have turrets like most tanks, that would not have been a problem, because that would have been a real challenge to catch them then. If they could fire armour-piercing rounds, especially at explorers, who back then probably only had muskets and fancy-ass clothes. Where's the proper intro that we paid Arnold Schwarzenegger to feature on? Waste of money.
Unbelievable.
Hate this
Yes,
segment.
that's right. Johnny's annoyed because it's time for another visit to my dictionary corner. Kingy's Dictionary Corner.
I love the etymology of words.
You absolute gorm.
Are you excited, boys?
No.
Not as excited as Ben is.
I mean, Ben literally just said he wasn't excited, so
Well, there you go then.
you're making me feel pretty low about this right now. Cheers, boys.
Well, the viewers, or the listeners, or whatever these people are, they love it, King. They said to you on Twitter that Dictionary Corner was the best thing about Countdown. So they obviously love it, don't they?
Yes, one person has kindly said that they enjoyed Dictionary Corner. What a result.
Yeah. No, did they say they enjoyed it, or did they say it was the best part of the episode?
It was the best part of the... Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So it wasn't necessarily a compliment.
It was the best part of the episode.
Best of a bad bunch.
Ben, I'm drinking a Hobgoblin traditionally crafted legendary ruby beer. So what I'm going to do is, whilst King talks about words that are no doubt going to describe me in some sort of way, I'm going to sit back and drink this. So, ta-ra!
Only 2 of them describe you, John.
Hmm?
I've got 3 words and only 2 of them describe you.
Oh, one of them's good then, is it?
No, it doesn't really describe you, but you'll enjoy it.
Okay, I'm listening now then.
So,
Ooh,
word number
good beer,
1,
this.
which Ben asked me to have a look into, div.
Did I?
You did, yeah.
Doesn't that come from banking?
It's it's quite an underused word today, I think. You don't really hear many people shouting,
Sure, it was
or you div.
one in the playground.
But yeah, that's what I was going to say. It does feel very much something that you kind of said at school and then grew out of. Apparently it's prison slang.
Oh, it's like a shiv.
You'd probably... No, it's not shiv, John. It's prison slang for a stupid or foolish person.
For what? A Cornish person?
A stupid or foolish person.
God, I hate Cornwall. Isn't it just the most
For
terrible,
God's sake, Ben, why would you...
terrible
mention
place in the world?
Oh.
Christ. Sea erosion
Starting
can't
again.
claim it quick enough.
Origins of the word div aren't entirely clear, but it's believed to have been a shortening and slight change from the word deviant, which makes sense with it being prison slang because they're all deviants.
Ben is as well.
Following on
Sexual
from
deviant.
what we discussed in the last episode, I've also chucked the word into Urban Dictionary to
Yes.
see what that says. And the top definition says, actually originates from prison slang in the UK. A job often given to the lowest inmate was to put cardboard dividers into boxes. Someone given this job was a divider or a div, now used as an insult to those who display stupidity. Example, oh you fucking div, you broke my ribs.
What? Great example.
Is that an example from Smooth Traffic? Episode 1 or something?
No, I've got an example of how Ben would use it. Shut up, you div.
Yeah, simple.
So, word number 2 is another one for you, Johnny. And the word is pillock. Now again, Ben uses this quite a lot.
He's a pillock of the community.
Clever, I like that.
I'm starting to think I'm quite an angry person, or at least I shout at Johnny a lot. In a variety of ways.
To be fair, you use an impressive array of words, Ben. I must say that your vocabulary is quite extensive when it comes to calling John an idiot. Because pillock is a stupid person. It originates from the mid-16th century. It's a variant of the archaic word pillicock, which is another word for penis. So basically, if you call John a pillock, you're basically calling him a penis.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that.
I'm sure you are comfortable with that.
You pillock head.
So, from the Urban Dictionary, top definition, noun for an idiot or fool. Originally a slang term for the penis, but fairly inoffensive now. Its this meaning has been forgotten. Derogatory British. Example, you silly pillock, why did you do that? Another example, based on the second definition, which is a man who has dropped a major bollock. Not necessarily a stupid bloke, rather one who has done a stupid act. The example being, you great pillock, why in God's name did you grab her ass?
I love the examples they use on this.
Is that from another episode of Smooth Traffic?
Could be.
Because I didn't do that.
That's for the court to decide,
But
John.
when you end up in prison, Johnny, at least you know some slang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, step away from that shower, div. Yeah, that's right. That's right. In my shower now, motherfucker.
You div, you dropped the soap. Let me get that for you.
Anyway, final word for this episode of Dictionary Corner. Slag. 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 Slag is the word. It has several meanings, as you may or may not be aware. Most commonly, it is a woman, occasionally a man, who has loose morals, also a prostitute. However, the Cockney use is a contemptible person, i.e. a scumbag. Now we'll move over to Urban Dictionary because, let's face it, this is going to be hilarious. So they describe it as an individual who cares not for relationships beyond the realm of the sexual. These people sleep with many partners, not caring about anything save for the moment of climax.
Did you write that, King?
It does sound like a very kingy description, doesn't
It
it?
sounds like one of Rob King's sexy text messages that he sends.
The example, so your wife's been a nasty slag all along. I knew she was trouble from the moment I first laid her.
Would one like the keys to my realm of sexuality? Robert
This is
King,
Kingy's book,
2015.
50 Shades of Beige.
Nothing wrong with a bit of beige.
How I Got Sexed. The Rob King story.
So there you go, John. You're a div and a pillock, but you don't really qualify as a slag.
No, not really.
Give it
Good
time.
morals.
He would be in prison, though, wouldn't he?
Oh, definitely. He'd be a prison slag.
What even is a prison slag? We talk about prison a lot, don't we?
Well, it's because that's where you're going to end up, John. So, we're just preparing you for the real world. Or the prison world, in this case.
I thought that's where Ben's going to end up.
No. Catch us next time for Dictionary Corner!
I hate this segment. Well, right at the back of the Smooth Traffic office is the dusty, knackered old Smooth Traffic half Morse, half fax machine. And we have had a Morse fax through the power of Morse faxing that has asked us a question from one of our listeners once again. And that question is, it's quite an interesting one, this one. As a group, would you rather be transported permanently 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past? And the key thing here is as a group, because King would want to go 500 years into the past.
That's true.
Ben would want to go 500 years into the future.
Definitely.
I would rather stay where I am. So as a group, would we rather be transported permanently 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past?
I'm going to say the past. Because that way we could get Kingy there without much argument. And, the detective skills of the police force weren't so good back then, so I reckon we could kill Kingy off and bury the body and they'd never know. If we go into the future, they'd have all sorts of sciencey techie things that would trap me.
So you want to go back in time
find my guilt.
just to kill me?
Yeah, it'd be safer, easier.
Wouldn't it be easier to just kill me now and then go back in time, or go forward in time?
That's a solid suggestion. I'm on board with that.
Plus, if we... I don't know, because I quite like the idea of killing King in a medieval kind of way.
Bludgeon him to death.
Yeah, big mace or something.
You wouldn't be able to pick up a mace.
I could pay someone to pick up a mace and I could just film it.
You wouldn't have the right currency. We're talking about you.
Film it. See, they didn't have video cameras back
How are
then,
you
so-
going to film it?
Yeah, I'm taking my smartphone with me though, aren't I?
Yeah, but the battery will run out.
Yeah, but not until after we've killed you.
Okay, and then what are you going to do with the video? Because you're permanently in 1518.
He's going to invent YouTube.
You're just going to sit there and watch it for the next 20 years before you die.
No, I'll watch it for the next 5 minutes before
And
my
then,
battery
then
runs
you'll
out.
die.
Of a disease, yeah.
Syphilis.
Well, the problem I've got with this is that if I go back 500 years into the past, I will die fairly instantly because I seem to get every single disease known
That's
to
true.
man. And the only thing that fixes me is modern science. But if we go forward 500 years, we don't even know if there's going to be a world there. It might have been bombed by the Finnish or something.
I mean, my logic was going to be that 500 years in the future, we have no idea what we'd be expecting. At least 500 years in the past, you know what you're going to be looking at.
Doom
It's
and
going to
gloom.
be big puffy pants, terrible disease everywhere, and yeah, a lot of loop music. But
Sounds like an MC Hammer album.
well, funnily enough, I just thought I'll just Google 1518 a minute, and in July, the dancing plague of 1518 happened. And
Dancing plague.
A case of dancing mania breaks out in Strasbourg. Wait for it, in which many people die from constant dancing.
So it's like Gangnam Style all over again.
Trouble is with 500 years is that 500 years in the past we won't have very sophisticated transport, and 500 years in the future we probably won't have transport at all. You just sort of be teleported or something, won't you?
What?
So
You think we're going to have teleporters?
500 years, yeah. Or we'll be dead. So one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, what if we just go 500 years into the future and there's just a void because everything has been destroyed?
Well, that's the thing. Like, how do we know we're not going to walk straight into a black hole?
Exactly. So 500 years in the past, no question.
Yeah?
We'll pop over to Strasbourg, watch 400 people dance for days without rest, and then some of them will collapse and have heart attacks and things. And then Ben's going to kill me.
Yeah. I'll make you dance. I'll tickle him.
The most medieval of torture. Tickle him!
I don't think I want to use horses though. So if we go back 500 years, can I sit in the
Carriage.
is it carriages back then or is it just carts?
I think, to be honest, you wouldn't be able to afford one. You'd be the guy polishing shoes.
No, John's the guy picking up the horse turds.
You'd be the guy walking around with a shovel.
What, and selling them as granary loaves?
No, you'd be
No,
taking
'cause
them to eat them, probably.
Johnny will adapt his invention of the feed bag and have an arse bag and solve the world's problems.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Bear in mind that, you know, how regularly does John upset someone in the current world? At least daily. So if he makes it more than one day... Because if you
Pistols at
upset
dawn.
someone back then... No, well, not pistols at dawn, Ben. Jesus.
Yeah.
Didn't you do history?
No.
But if he pisses someone off back then, someone's probably just going to take his head off.
What, with an axe?
Axe, sword, a really hard loaf of bread.
Wow. Brutal.
You know what times are like for the poor. That bread would have lasted for months.
I don't know if I mean, at least we know what we're getting into, but I don't know if I'm not completely sold on it. I'm just not sure because there's so many things that are terrible about that time, and there's so many things in the future that might be good.
Well, are we agreed as a group that we shouldn't go 500 years into the future?
No.
Well, no, because we might have immortality in the future.
I'm not sure we could risk that for Kingy.
But the issue with immortality could be that what if that's been bred into people? So then we turn up and we can't have it because we haven't progressed with evolution.
Oh, it would be cybernetics, wouldn't it? Your consciousness will be uploaded into a AI or something. Well, not an AI, obviously, because you'll be the I bit into a robot.
What, a sexy robot?
It could be a sexy robot.
Oh dear.
If you really want to be a sexy robot, Johnny.
I feel like I might want to be a sexy robot.
Yeah, but if
now.
you become a sexy robot, John, that means that Ben's going to pester you. On account of his obsession with sexy robots.
Yeah. I wonder if I want my bum to be touched by Ben again.
Well, it wouldn't be your bum, it would be a robotic bum.
Yeah, that's true.
Does that mean I'd feel it?
Probably.
But would I mind? Because it's not really my bum.
But it is your consciousness.
Yeah.
That's a tough question, isn't it? Maybe that should be the other question on the fact
I'm not
sheet.
sure it's that tough a question.
If your bum is not really your bum, do you mind someone touching it?
If you had a bum transplant now, would you let me touch your bum? That's the question.
Hang on, which one? The new one he's got or the old one that he's had taken off?
Either. That's the question. Do you have a problem with someone touching your bum?
What is going on? Hang on, what is going on here?
Is it just bum touching is just not appropriate any time,
descended
any
into
place,
chaos.
in any era?
It could have got worse,
I think
Kingy.
bum
We stuck
touching
to bum.
probably was fine. Fine back in 1518. Now I feel like I want to go back to 1518 again. Where bum touching was openly encouraged amongst friends and associates.
So in conclusion then, we're just going to stay where we are, because that's easier. And there's less ambiguity around bums.
Well, if we all stay where we are, we all have to kill ourselves immediately with... okay. By driving a Volkswagen Beetle into a wall of chainsaws.
Let's just go back to 1518 and take our chances, lads.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's that then, I suppose. We're going to launch an armada. The smooth Marder.
Good. Well, just remember to send us a fax in. We're always happy to receive a fax. Modern that we are.
Yeah, we can do Morse code, but it's really hard, isn't it? So just use a fax.
I don't know how they
please.
keep coming in because I keep turning off the fax machine.
You can't turn off a fax machine, King.
Of course you can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
You unplug it.
Doesn't matter. Still works.
Oh, God.
One day I'm going to explain to Johnny what a fax machine is.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's bad enough that John doesn't understand how his computer works, but to not know how a fax machine works, which has been around for decades now.
King, can you unplug a mill?
What? As in a windmill?
No, you can't. Yep, no, you can't,
No.
because they are old technology and they always
Yeah.
work. A bit like a fax machine. Fax machines are the cockroaches of technology. After the
I
nuclear
don't
bombs
think that's
have gone
true.
off, fax machines will still work, even though they're not plugged in.
Yeah, but who's sending a fax?
Ah, that is the question, King. Could it be aliens? Or could it be survivors? Or could it be Zom aliens?
Or could it be us who took the fax machine back to 1518 because apparently it'll work?
It'll work, yeah. That's how we can communicate with the future. Fax machine. Every fax machine works without needing to be plugged in. It's kind of magic, King. You just got to believe.
You can tell that he doesn't work in an office, can't you, Ben?
Yeah. He's got his own little office.
I have, yeah. Wait a minute. What does that mean?
I'm going to buy you a fax machine. Bet you can get one cheap off Amazon, eBay.
What would I do with it?
Look at it.
Look
I don't
at
know.
it, yeah.
I mean, you can't turn it off, can you? So
No.
we'll send a fax with it.
Yeah, but
You
I
just
don't
send
know.
loads of faxes.
But how do you send a fax? You put in a phone number, don't you?
No, you put in a fax number.
Is that the same as a phone number?
It's in the same format, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same, yeah. It
But
goes down the phone line.
it's a data connection rather than a telephone connection.
So if I know somebody's phone number, can I send them a fax?
No, but you can... their phone will ring, they'll pick it up and they'll get that annoying fax noise and they'll go, some stupid moron sending me a bloody fax. And then they put the phone down.
Yeah.
Great, I'm sold. Ben, get me a fax machine.
Will do.
Do you want Ben's business card so you've got his phone number, John?
No, I've got yours, King. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, magic. I mean, I've got a fax machine. I could just give you the number for the fax machine at work.
Well, you've got a fax machine?
Well, at work, we've got a fax machine. Sorry. I misspoke.
Yeah, we have, to be fair, as well.
Why?
Shocking.
Why? It's apparently because
occasionally
it's technology that will never die, John.
But what happens when you get a fax? What possible information could you be getting on a fax that is more important than getting it on an email or a telephone?
Some people don't email, John. And plus, you couldn't have something in writing over a telephone. That's ridiculous.
Some people don't email.
Yes.
What?
Let me explain a fax machine to you, John. If you think of when you take a photograph with your mobile phone,
Yeah.
and you can then send that photo to someone via WhatsApp or even if you wanted to via MMS.
MMS? Christ, you're old.
I was trying to put it into words that you might understand. Jesus.
I thought that was a disease.
Anyway, a fax is like a photograph. You put the paper into the fax machine at your end. It basically scans it, takes a photograph of it, and then sends that to the other person, and then they get that exact thing come out on their fax machine.
So a fax machine is a camera?
Sort of. That's the simplest way I can describe it to you, that you'll understand.
Smooth Traffic's Robert King says a fax machine is a camera. You heard it here first.
Oh, kill me now.
So, someone in my office told me a story the other day about one of the old ladies in his office when they first got a fax machine. And she didn't quite know how it worked, so she put a letter in an envelope and put it in the fax machine.
That's brilliant.
Made me chuckle. Poor thing. But I can imagine Jonny doing that, so that's why it's probably more amusing.
I don't think I'd want to touch the fax machine.
John doesn't even know how to post a letter, Ben.
It's very true.
You've given him way too much credit.
Been trying to flag down an eagle for months.
So, in case you've missed Smooth Traffic recently, Ben's been to New Zealand. Apparently, when he was on the plane, he kept watching dirty movies. Have you heard about this, John?
Yeah, I have heard about this, yeah.
Disgraceful.
Didn't Ben say he got a semi on a plane?
He did. He did. It's quite disgusting.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. What is wrong with people nowadays, King? Why would you watch a dirty movie on an aeroplane?
Well, not just
Unbelievable.
one. Apparently, every movie he watched. There was at least nudity. Minimum of nudity in every film that he watched.
That's not appropriate. There's children on aeroplanes, Ben.
Exactly. You're a disgrace.
Sicko. What an absolute sicko.
Yeah, I didn't realise that when I started watching Deadpool. I'd forgotten about that scene in the middle.
It's not acceptable to join the Mile High Club by yourself, Ben.
Yeah, Ben. That doesn't count. You belong in prison. Sick fuck.
Now I see why you wanted to intro this segment, King. Thank you for that.
So, anyway, Ben's got some kind of quiz about New Zealand? I don't know.
Oh, Christ. Sounds dull.
So when I was in New Zealand, I realised that I spotted quite a few cars that had random names over there that I didn't recognise. And I didn't write any down, so I've tried to find someone
Jesus
I've come
Christ.
back. And it was more of a struggle than I realised.
Unbelievable.
So,
This is worse than you, John.
I've cobbled
You
something
know what?
together.
I'm just going to put a dirty movie on, if you don't mind, and just sit here and relax.
So, what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you the brand, and then I'm going to give you two names for the model of the car, and you get to tell me which one is which is the correct one, and which is one I've just made up.
Okay.
So, simple as that.
Sorry, Ben, I wasn't concentrating then. What's this segment about again?
Ben's made a yes or no quiz, but John.
Oh, okay. Yes or no?
And we've made it simple so that King doesn't get upset, because he got very upset with the last quiz.
Oh, yeah, he had a meltdown, didn't he?
He did.
Didn't
So-
have a meltdown.
So we can go first or second on this, Kingy. You know, we'll let you make that decision.
Yeah, King. Quiz Nazi.
I'd like to go second.
You'd like to go second. This is where we find out that actually I just haven't heard of all of these, and actually they're all sold in the UK, so it could be quite boring. So first one is the correct car. This is a Ford. Is it the Falcon or the Eagle?
The Falcon.
Final answer, Johnny.
Yep.
Kingy?
The Falcon.
Yeah, sorry, Johnny gets first, so that's bad luck, King.
Unlucky King.
Bugger. Never mind. At least I got the right answer.
Yeah. How's it feel? How's it feel,
Second.
King, to be behind already to the #1 trash talker on Smooth Traffic? How's your quiz history, King?
It just feels great to be alive, John.
Yeah. Wait.
Anyway, I only had one, so Johnny, you win.
Fantastic. What a result.
Oh, thank goodness that segment's over.
Right, next one. The Ford Zoomer or Telstar?
Is it me?
Yeah, you're going first.
What, every time?
Yeah, we agreed I was going second.
Oh, okay. I'll go Zoomer.
Kingy, any thoughts?
I don't know on this one. The
Do you
Telstar.
not? It is the Telstar, Kingy. Very good. It's also a satellite name, which is why I've made up one Zoomer, which is a recent satellite launch. Kingy and Johnny, if you'd watched more SpaceX launches, you'd have known that was only launched a few weeks ago.
I just thought Zoomer sounded like someone who might live in New Zealand. Zoomer Mackenzie. Zoomer Mackenzie. He's down there doing his New Zealand thing. Zoomer Mackenzie. He's got a car named after him now. You know, that kind of thing.
I just thought of Kurt Zuma.
Oh, yeah.
No idea who that is.
Big Kurt.
Right, Toyota. Next.
Yeah, that's definitely a brand.
Excellent. King, that's another point to you. So, We've got the Toyota Nebula or the Toyota Orion.
I'm going to go Nebula.
Kingy?
Yeah, I'd also go Nebula because the Orion was a Ford.
That was actually the Orion.
Well, bugger me.
Oh, dear.
Or I wrote it down wrong. Who knows?
Hey, King, you're going to lose this quiz.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
See, you should have just gone for the other answer, Kingy, because you weren't going to get a point anyway.
Yeah, King.
Right, the next one. Toyota, the Virtus or Fortuna?
Virtus? I'm going to go Virtus. Virtus? Yeah, I'll go Virtus.
Yeah, let's go with the Fortuna.
Well done, Rob.
Thanks. I've noticed a trend, John.
What, pick the other one that Johnny's not picking?
No. Telstar and Fortuna, both names of Dutch football teams. I see what Ben's done here. He's unwittingly given us loads of clues.
Am I trying to guess the right one or the wrong one?
I don't know.
They're actually both Greek gods, Kingy. I thought you'd pick up on some of these trends
Roman rather than
and
Greek,
guess which one's fake, but you're letting me down. So now we go to Vauxhall, or Holden as they are over in New Zealand. So these are a bit easier because we have none of these. So I've got a few. So the next one is Barina or Summit.
I'm going to go...
Now we're trying to pick the correct one, yeah? The real one, Johnny.
Barina?
Yeah.
Holden Barina. Yeah, I'll go Barina. That sounds like something an Australian or a New Zealand person would say.
Yeah.
It does, but then Summit sounds like the kind of thing that you...
Barina.
Yeah. Well, can't you imagine?
Got the keys to my Barina?
Yeah, Summit doesn't really sound right, does it?
No.
We'll go with Summit.
Yeah, you're wrong. Well done, Johnny. Point
Yeah. Get the
Thanks,
keys
Will.
to my Barina. You wiener.
The Holden Dakota or Holden Colorado?
The Colorado.
Yeah, it's got to be Colorado, surely.
It is. But Johnny went first, so tough, Kingy.
Yeah,
Well done,
fuck
John.
you, King.
It's 3-2 to Johnny at the moment.
Hope you choke on your quiz, King.
Next one, the Holden Admiral or Holden Commodore?
Commodore.
Yeah, it's got to be Commodore.
King, you're going to have to step in earlier.
Why? I'm going second.
Yeah, King's
Wow,
going
that's
second.
bad
He's not
luck.
allowed to. He's not allowed to, Ben.
I'm playing by the rules of the game.
Yeah, Ben.
Okay, another Holden for you.
Gimp.
Is it the Trax or the Trail?
Trail.
How are you spelling tracks? With an X?
None of your business.
You're not allowed to ask questions, King.
Oh, okay. Well, because Ben said none of your business, the trail.
Kingy, why did you not just go for the other option? You're such a moron. So no points there.
No. Is it with an
the
X?
Trax. Yeah, it was with an X.
See, if you'd said yes, I'd have gone for it.
Why don't you stop trying to cheat, King? You big cheater,
Yeah.
quiz Nazi.
So it should be level pegging, but you're 4-2 ahead, Johnny, because Kingy's a bit of a moron.
Yeah, King.
You're...
No, let's use the words we've used. Let's use the words we've learned today. A bit of a pillock.
Yeah,
Hello,
King.
yes. Right, this is the last one from Holden. Is it the Spark or the Ignite?
Spark.
Ignite.
No, it's Spark.
How is it?
Come on, Johnny. 5-2.
Oh, King. You're going to get emotional, aren't you, King? You're going to go, oh, you
Kingy, you need to get the next 3 right, otherwise, and then it'll go down to my tiebreak question. Next one, this is from Nissan. Is it the Nissan Tida or Napolina?
What? Napolina's a kind of tomato sauce. I'm going to go Tina.
Napolina.
Tida.
Oh.
It's a Tida. I just read it as Tilda first, and I thought it was the rice brand, so I thought, let's go pasta. 6-2. So the next one from Kia. Is it the Kia Festival or the Kia Carnival?
Ooh.
Ooh. Carnival.
Yeah, Carnival.
It is the Carnival. Oh, you're running away with this, Johnny.
Romp in this quiz. King sucks at quizzes. He don't belong in the same arena of quizzes as I do.
And then the last one, before the bonus round. Is it the Honda Odyssey or Honda Ulysses?
Odyssey.
Let's go Ulysses.
Yeah, well done, Johnny.
Oh, King, you sound so dejected. Oh, boo-hoo, King. Boo-hoo. We're not going to hear the end of this again. King's going to get upset. No. Oh, my name's Rob and I really suck at quizzes. I can't do them anymore, even though I get really excited about pub quizzes, get competitive and start fighting people and throw pint glasses at people.
When has that ever happened?
Do you want the bonus round, just in case?
The thing
Yes.
is, I can't win here, because if I moan about it, then John will pick up on it. And if I don't moan about it, he'll just say I'm sulking. Because he's such a massive it makes it very difficult.
Just win, King.
Let's
That's what
hit
you
the
gotta do.
bonus round.
So the bonus round which could be for 5 points if you like, but that won't make a difference. Do you want it to be worth 6 points? And then I'll have to think of another one. No, so the last one, Mitsubishi. Is it the Beluga or the Marlin?
Ooh, tasty.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the Marlin. The Mitsubishi Marlin.
Kingy?
Beluga. The Mitsubishi Beluga.
Yeah. No, you're both wrong.
What?
Do you honestly think Mitsubishi would name a car after a fish? A marlin is a type of swordfish, if you remember we discussed them at length earlier.
Yeah, that's why it sounded so cool.
And a beluga's a whale.
And the beluga's a whale.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you name it after a majestic whale?
So yeah, nobody gets any points. It would have been 5 points for guessing that they were both fake, but you're both shit. So Jonny wins that one, 14-1.
Quiz legend.
14-1.
Absolute quiz legend. Listeners,
Wow.
thank you so much for listening. I want to
Or
thank
8-2.
my mum, my dad, my sister, all of the Russian Olympic gymnastics team who have incredibly firm thighs. I want to thank this microphone manufactured by some company. I want to thank Bill Gates for donating to my charity foundation,
What?
Jonny in the Jungle. And I want to thank all of the spiritual advisors that I keep nearby me at all times to make sure that I'm in top condition for quizzes like this. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. I'm a quiz legend. Yes! King, you fucking suck at quizzes. You should be ashamed of yourself. Get back in your box. Get back in your box, King. You're never doing quizzes again on this show. You suck. I'm a terrible winner.
You're an atrocious winner.
Well, thank you for listening once again to Smooth Traffic. So you've heard us talk about the Audis, the Porsches, the fax machine, the quizzes. Thank you ever so much for listening. Do the subscribe thing, do the rating thing, and try not to shit yourself. Bye, everyone! Bye!
Bye.